Hello, welcome to another Innistrad Draft. I think I've been valuing removal too highly. That's kind of a strange problem to have. But I've had some experiences where dead weight just hasn't been good. I think there's a lot of recursion in the set. Stuff that's going to be bringing stuff back. So cards like dead weight just aren't as powerful because it's not always a one-for-one trade anymore. Sometimes you'll take out a creature and it'll come back later. So you got to watch out for that. Cards like Mausoleum Guard are really they're really solid. I think Deadweight is the pick here, though. Either that or the Bonds of Faith. I'm going to go with the Bonds of Faith. The enchantments are really good because they don't put the creature into the graveyard. Makes them very hard to bring back. And it looks like we've got a whole bunch of white here again. I'm going to try to stay away from white. Nope. It's not going to happen, though, in this pack. You just got to pick up Rebukes when you can get them. Rebuke, Bonds of Faith. Usually when you're playing white, you're going to be playing aggro. In this format, white-red is a very powerful archetype. You're going to be dropping down creatures. Rebuke is great because your opponent's going to be they're going to have to try to race you, and Rebuke is great for knocking off a couple creatures. Yeah, it looks like another aggro white deck here because Cloistered Youth is really good. That's basically going to be a 3/3 on turn 3, which is really good. So's Unruly Mob. That gets pretty big real fast. So I'm going to pick up the Unruly Mob. No, you know what? The Cloistered Youth is more guaranteed. You're guaranteed to have a 3/3 with that. Unruly Mob, it has the potential to get bigger, but it also has the potential to be smaller. If creatures aren't dying at the pace you want them to be. So I guess I'll just ride this wave of white until it dries up, and if it doesn't, then I'll be happy. Having a whole bunch of white is fine. I mean, it's kind of boring, but if you're going to win, then it's great. Thraben Sentry is a card that I've been undervaluing. It's a 5/4 trampler. Pretty much always. I thought it was a werewolf where you had to wait until nobody cast anything, and creatures dying is a whole lot more common than not casting anything. So I'm going to pick that. See if we can make that work. And we still got more white here. Chapelgeist, solid card. Stitch Drake is something I'm going to watch out for. The fact that I'm seeing that and Ashmouth Hound, those are both solid cards. They're going to be in your deck. So if I keep getting past blue like this, I'll start going into it. I haven't tried blue-white yet. It'd be kind of cool to have a blue-white Skies deck. But as long as I'm being past the solid white here, I'm just going to keep going. Yeah, Dream Twist, and any of these mill cards that do nothing but mill are pretty much worthless unless you're sure you want to go into milling your opponent, which is really tough to do even in this format. Unless you're sure about that, Dream Twist and the Curse of the Bloody Tomes, you should stay away from those cards. They don't do anything on the board, which means that sometimes they're just going to be blank, and that's not what you want. And even worse, even if it isn't blank, sometimes it'll actually help your opponent, and that's just terrible. You don't want to be doing that. Because there's a whole bunch of cards like Flashback. A friend of mine last Friday Night Magic, his opponent tried to mill him, and he ended up with a whole bunch of Flashback cards in his graveyard and started throwing them at the opponent, and it was a short game. Let's just put it that way. So you want to stay away from mill whenever you can. That's just and there are a couple exceptions. Like if you have the Laboratory Maniac and a whole bunch of other aggressive mill cards, then the less powerful mill cards, I guess you can pick them up, kind of fill in your deck, but you should never depend on that happening. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep picking up white cards as they get past me. See if I can go mono white. Abby Griffin, 2/2 flying is really good, but 3 and a white is kind of steep price for it. The vigilance isn't really relevant because 2 toughness creature is not going to be blocking a whole lot. You want high toughness on your vigilance creatures. There was the Griffin Sentinel in N12 that was a solid card because 3 toughness could block as well as attack. And it looks like we're out of white here, so I'm going to pick up the Typhoid Rats because that's a really good attacker. Death Touch is really nice. Kindercats I've been really disappointed with. Just not good. Yeah, it looks like I'm going white-red. I think I'll pick up the Night Revelers. I don't have too many late game plays right now. I've got a whole bunch of 2-drops. So that would be a nice end to the curve. Ashmouth Hound is also solid, though. I wouldn't be disappointed to have that in my deck. Gnaw to the Bone, I've heard stories about. I'm still not sold on it. Life gain, you never want to use life gain, but someone was telling me the other day you can gain like 20 life off of it or something if you play it right. But I'll see that when I'll believe that when I see it. Yeah, you know the drill. Just pick up all the white weenie creatures. Beat face. Abyssinian Priest would be the other pick here, but I really like the Spectral Rider. That can do some serious work. Even if your opponent is playing white or has artifact creatures, 2 mana 2/2s are still pretty solid. Being able to swing in with those turn 2 is really nice. It's a nice body. It's the same reason I like Silver Chase Fox. Just a solid beater. Claustrophobia is kind of interesting. There's some more blue. Oh, yeah, we're blue. Murder Crows, you can't pass that. That's Cackling Counterpart is fine, I guess, but 5 mana 4/4 with flying, that's just wow. Yeah, you want that in your deck. It's basically a dragon. Dragons, angels, vampires, those big 4/4 flyers are always really good. So now I got to pick a second color here because the whites, there's no white here. And the Mystics are probably the most solid pick here. That 5/5 regenerate is pretty hard to take care of. And a 3/3 creature isn't that bad either if it's the human version. I guess I could try going into red with the Ironsmith or the Bitten for of the Bitten. But neither of those are really that great. Those are going to be coming to me late if I really want them. So I'm going to pick up the Mystics, see if green can be my second color. We have more Mystics here, but I'd much rather have the Priest, honestly. I know I'm going to be in white. I'm not sure about green. And the Priest is a great card. The fact that it can only target non-humans is relevant. There will be times when I can't use them. So I'm going to have to pick up Rebukes, but I'm going to be picking those anyway, so I'm not worried about that. Gallows Warden is the other card I'd want, but I really like the blue version better. The extra power is really solid. It always has something that it buffs. Having the extra toughness isn't usually useful. And, well, I think Ashmouth Hound is the right pick here. I really like the Dark Picket Wolf, but it's kind of expensive to use his ability. Ashmouth Hound, he gets his bonus for free. So I like using him whenever possible. Prey Upon I'm kind of disappointed with. I thought that would be a higher pick. It's just kind of junk. And part of that is because there aren't too many fat creatures in this set, especially for green. Green usually has some really good 6-7 power creatures that you can use Prey Upon with, and this set just doesn't have it. And Rakish Air is really good, so I'm going to pick that, yeah. Cloistered Youth would probably be the safer pick, but I like the Slith ability, the +1/+1 counters. Those get really big if you can play it right. And there's the cobbled wings that you can throw on it. I'll probably get past at least one of those, and I'll see if I can, if it's possible for me to grab it up. Because giving a rakish air flying kills real fast. And sometimes you can even take your opponent by surprise, casting it and equipping it on the same turn. The white's garbage here. Feeling Dread is not good if you're only casting it once. Flashing it back is pretty decent, I guess, but casting it once is useless. So I'm going to pick Grasp of Phantasm just to hate draft. Maybe I'll be blue, I'm not sure. Probably not if I'm getting past a Handwear Watchkeep. Having that 5/5 attacking on turn 4 is just crazy. A 1/5 with Defender isn't bad either for 3 mana. So just even if he doesn't transform, he's a solid creature. He helps you win the race. So I don't mind having him even if he doesn't transform. Yeah, it looks like I'm going to be going red-white again. The Neonate is it's not a very high pick because it doesn't work outside of the aggro strategy. If you're going blue-red, trying to go for like the instants and sorceries kind of thing, the flashback approach, then Neonate isn't going to be nearly as good. I've already got a couple of Foxes, so I think I'm going to grab up the Haunting this time. I think the Foxes is a little bit better, but being able to have those flying creatures is always nice. Since I'm going aggro, I might as well pick up the Fur. Riot Devils is what you want in your blue-red deck. That's the kind of creature that's going to be holding off your opponent while you cast your magic, your non-creature spells. And that table, wow. They must really want me in white. Yeah, looks like another boring deck. Sorry about that. It looks like the archetypes are kind of... the powerful ones are the white-red, aggro... yeah, I'm picking up the rare here. The protection's really nice. I think that's what's going to make him really good. The other choice here is the Chapel Geist. But I think I want to try out the rare. Anyway, so red-white is one of the most powerful archetypes. There's a whole bunch of really, really good white cards, and the red just kind of complements that with a couple good buffs to the attackers. The other archetype that I'm seeing a lot of is blue-black zombies. There's a whole bunch of cards like Claustrophobia that help with control, locking down the board, and then you have a bunch of you've got the makeshift Mauler and the Stitch Drake, and those are really good for those are just great creatures. So basically, the blue-black deck just fills up the graveyard that lets you cast those Stitch Drake and Maulers. Armored Scab, that's one of the big enablers in blue. There I snap picked another rare. That was the Dearly Departed. Yeah, that's going to finish off an opponent real fast. And Doom Traveler is another card I've changed my mind on. I usually don't like 1-mana 1/1s, but Doom Traveler is really nice. He's good for sacrifice outlets. He's a good blocker because you get to block twice with him, once as the Traveler and once as the Spirit. Being able to turn into a flyer is really relevant. And Geistcatcher's Rig is another card that I've been undervaluing, I think. Flying is really important. I always underestimate that. And being able to kill flyers is really good. And the size. 4/5 is big in this set. So I'm trying to decide whether I want to pick that. I want another Fox, or I want the Trepanation Blade, and I'm going to go with the Rig. Being able to do a Flame Tongue Kavu is pretty awesome. Being able to drop that, kill their biggest flyer, and there are a whole lot of 4/4s that you're going to want to kill. You saw the Murder of Crows that I saw earlier. So it's going to be killing most flyers with that. Woodland Sleuth is the other pick here, but I'm definitely not in green. I really want to play Sleuth at some point, but green's garbage in this set. It's really disappointed. The werewolves are pretty mediocre, and the morbid's just really hard to pull off. Traitorous Blood is also that's really solid. Usually that kind of card isn't really good, but in this set it is, because there's a whole bunch of the 4 power creatures are kind of at the top of the curve, and there's usually only going to be like 1 or 2 in play at once, so being able to steal that from your opponent, it's usually what's going to get you there. Your opponent's going to cast a makeshift Bowler at some point, and he's going to try to use that to block, and you're going to steal it at some point and take away, first of all, take away their best blocker, and then send it at their face. Here I'm trying to figure out whether I want the Butcher's Cleaver or not, and I think I've got too many spirits to make that work. I don't have too many humans, and probably vampires and stuff in red, so not that. But the Night Revelers would be kind of nice. I've kind of got the top of the curve already, though. I've got the Watch Keep and the Sentry and the Night Revelers. I've got a copy of those already. Yeah, I guess I can go for another one. That's fine. And here I'm just going to hate draft. What do I not want to play against? I'd rather not play against the Villagers. No, Rats. Rats are going to be the most dangerous against this deck. And there's another Geist. Someone's going to have a nice werewolf deck if they got these. That should be pretty interesting. Yeah, so basically I'm just going to drop as many creatures as I can and then try to burn a way through to my opponent. And if I can't burn them, yeah, I don't really have too much burn, but I've got the Chapel Geists. So I'll be sending those at my opponent en masse. Whole bunch of flyers going at him. I guess I could have picked the Sentry there, but I kind of like the idea of swinging in with a whole bunch of flyers. And I didn't get enough blue to make the Murder of Crows worth splashing for. So I think mostly I'm just going to be doing your run-of-the-mill white-red deck. Yeah, none of these are pickable now. I probably won't be running any of those cards in my deck. Selfless Cathar, that's a 1/1 that I don't like. 1 mana 1/1. The Doom Traveler I like, but the Selfless Cathar, no way. Unless you've got a really good Morbid deck or something, you've got a whole bunch of things that need Morbid to trigger. But even then, you have to pay 2 extra mana to make Morbid work, and if you're paying mana for it, then it sucks. Most of the Morbid cards are decently costed at if you have free Morbid, like if you've got the Blazing Torch or something like that. But if you have to pay extra mana, like with the Homunculus guy, it's just not worth it. So we're just going to go 2 colors here. Put in all the solid stuff. I might put in the Geist Flame. Let's see what I've got first. Maybe not. I've got a whole bunch of stuff already. And that Spirit guy is going to be really good in this because I got a whole bunch of Geists. And wow, that was 23. Maybe I won't have the Sentry in. I'll replace him with the Dearly Departed. And I will replace, let's see, Fox with Inquisitor. Because he's definitely better. First Strike, Vigilance, and Protection? Yes, please. And it seems sad to leave the Fox out, though. I want to put him in. Well, I guess I'll keep an eye on those for the sideboard. Same with the Geist Catcher Drake. I'll see how much flying they're running. If there's something that can beat all my spirits, my Chapel Geists, then I'll throw the rig in. If they've got an especially large number of enchantments or curses, I'll put the Fox in. And I'm not sure how I'd use the Sentry, but yeah, maybe some 1/1 creatures I'll put in Geist Flame. And let's check the color balance. Mostly white. Yeah, a whole lot of white. So I'm going to do 10 plains and 7 mountains. That should be a good balance. Unless I don't have any double red, do I? I could probably get away with 6 mountains. 6 mountains, 11 plains. Alright, I'll record the game this time, so I'll show you how that works.